Today you're going to see a little video about the cameras, the film cameras we use here in the studio. And they are medium, large, and even larger format. One thing I wanted to share with you before you go and view it all is that while these are the ones I use, you can use any film camera. You can use an old Pentax 35, you can use a Yashica Mat 120, you can use an old Graflex that you got at a yard sale to do 4x5. There's no limitation there. I'm showing you what I use and what I like, and I use the low ISO because I have studio lights. If you're going to do things natural light, you may want to get a 400 or a faster film to use. So anyway, just wanted to clarify as you watch this little episode that what I use doesn't mean you have to use. Hey friends, as promised, I'm going to show you the film cameras I use. One of them's right behind me. I actually use it. But more importantly, the medium format, which in my world is small, that is my Hasselblad. And this is the one I've always preferred, which is an ELX, 553 ELX. It's one of the more modern ones before autofocus, and it's a purely mechanical camera. I've got several lenses for it. As a portrait artist, I pretty much use a 150, 120. That's my normal working length. This is a totally film-based camera, and the film backs come off for loading. This is an insert, actually, the Hasselblad insert. Once that's in, you can remove the entire back film holder. So it's like your memory cards. I have several of these that are preloaded, and they just go on in a jiffy, in a fly, and you're ready to shoot again. The thing I love about these cameras is the classic sound of that shutter. There it is. It's that great sound of winding film. And this latest one uses AAA batteries. They used to have a special NiCad that was specially made for these, and of course, they're not really available any longer. So this one I like because 5 AA's and it's rolling again. But the film that I use is pretty much exclusively Kodak T-Max. That's their finer grained, smooth T-Max grained 100 speed film. And the slower the ISO generally, the finer quality the image. So that's medium format. Many of you know my absolute favorite camera of all the digital and all the Hasselblads and all the obscure larger ones that I have. This is the one. Peter Gowland's 4x5 twin lens portrait camera. It's a bear. It's a big old camera, big old bellows and parallax correction, but it's a magical camera because it makes very 4x5 inch, very large negatives. And from those negatives, I could print them. Nowadays, I scan them in a high resolution, and then I can make them as large as I want digitally. Let's take a close look at this, Mike. I'll show you a couple things. First, let's look at the film that we're using. Here's the Kodak film loaded and ready. 2 sheets on each holder, and I've got many more ready. So that's the size of your negative right there, 4x5 inches. And when I shoot Polaroids, I use one of these, and I have many Polaroid film holders. And the Polaroid film that I use is this one. Test picture on the front. I test every batch when it comes in. This is how big the negative is. Actually a little larger than this. This is the proof that comes with it. PN 55 or 55 PN is my favorite film. It's not made anymore, so I have to kind of hoard it. I have to buy it on eBay and hope it works because I think they stopped manufacturing in 2001 with expiration dates of 2007. However, there is one other fix, and that is there is a new 55 made by another company that I believe purchased all of the equipment that manufactured the original. And I have tried it. It's very nice. I don't have the 100% exact same feeling about it, but it will give me that ginormous 4x5 high quality black and white negative, which is what I'm shooting here. So that's the new 55. Now, if we look around turn around and show the back side here of my camera. Here's the beautiful thing. Up here, I've got a viewing hood, and it has its own lens, which never darkens out, never blacks out, doesn't have any mirror in it, or a mirror that flips. So I can view my client, my pose, all the time through this lens. And at the same time, I can go ahead, and with this universal holder that I've got, I can look at and focus the film lens if I need to, but I can also load film right in here. For instance, here's the Polaroid back. If it's loaded, flip it in, it's ready to fire. Just like that. So that's how fast I can shoot a Polaroid, which is again a 4x5 negative instantly, or 4x5 film holder can also. Remember, I'm looking up here. I know my subject is still in the right spot. The lighting's good, composition's right, and I can keep looking at it the whole time. Then I load my film holder. Boom, get it in there. Okay, and we are ready. I got my little crank in the way there, that's all. And that's how we shoot the film. All right, boom. So, take this back to front. Here on the taking lens, we've got the shutter and the aperture. And on this lens, only an aperture, but it's kept wide open all the time for the brightest focusing. So no matter what we do, when we're composing a portrait, we can maintain a viewing of the subject in real time. And this could be all stopped down and cocked and ready for a picture. So now let's just take a look at some of the portraits that I've done, and they are many with this particular film. I'll show you also a couple of the negatives just so you can envision what special qualities they have. The one that is most important to me, if you'll look, is the edges. The edges of the negative, which exceed the 4x5 space, are what give it its unique character. If you compose well, you'll be able to keep all the surrounding, what we call dirty edges, that's unique in every single frame. And if you don't have a negative holder that will allow it, you should just put them in glass. I put them in my scanner. I can't use a 4x5 holder. I just have to lay it on the glass, tape it down, whatever, and get the scan, because I want all those delicious edges to show. So one of the most unique cameras that I have is a very common camera 50, 80, 100 years ago. I use this camera as often as I can. It's an 8x10 Kodak camera. It's a number 9. It uses 8x10 film. It has a brass lens with variable soft focus, kind of like an Imagon lens. And this lens is about 105 years old. They made things really well back then. So this, 100 years plus, this camera's 1937, and we reconfigured it so that we would have the capacity of electronic flash. We can plug our strobes into that. That, of course, we worked up, and then this is the cable release, which is air-driven, okay? So we can take the pictures that way. Smile, little kid, you know, boom, boom. But you can only do one at a time, that's the thing. So, simple camera, studio camera, insanely sturdy. It's on 4 posts and wheels, and it weighs a lot, believe me. But the images are so wonderful. What you'll see in a minute, but I'll go around the back first, is we have the black cloth, which I'll bring out for you here in a second. Take it this way. And then we have in the back, or I should say the side first, these are the cranks for elevation and pitch. Okay, so you can crank it up higher. And there's also a pitch control in the back as well. So that's how we aim the camera, because you just can't tip it very easily. So that is it. So what we'll do is we'll come around the back of the camera. I'll show you that side, and then we'll show you an example of that wonderful high quality film. Okay, now we're on the back of the camera. I just want to show you the back side of the number 7 Century camera by Kodak. And this is where you'll focus your image right here. And we would have to have like a magnifying glass or a loop on here to be sure we have focus on the eyes. This back is where you would put the film plate in. Not plate in this case, it's a film holder, because this modern one has 2 sheets. So it would go in there. And when you're ready to take the picture, you just pull out one of the slides. And when you're done shooting it, you put it back in. So it's not slow once you have it all composed. Lastly, I want to show you an actual negative from here. I pulled one out. This is a negative. See that? 8x10, made in this camera on Kodak film. And this pretty much has 5 times, I'd say, the fidelity of some of the highest end digital cameras. So this large camera or image, camera-made image on film can be scanned and made into a billboard or anything you want because the fidelity is so high. So that, my friends, is my 3 main formats: Hasselblad or 2 1/4 roll film, 120, and then 4x5 film or Polaroid, positive, negative. And on this camera, I've shot color Kodak 8x10 film, but most frequently when I'm doing the art sessions, I prefer the black and white. And we've got lots of these always loaded up and ready for the next shoot. So that is the Kelly Studio film camera arsenal. Thanks for being with us and being a part. Be sure to subscribe to Tim Kelly's Master Photo Techniques. Thank you.